Building a $500 gaming PC used to be easy. These days, it's a little more complicated. Prices have crept up. The good parts are harder to find, and it's easy to get overwhelmed with all the options out there. So I decided to build something that actually makes sense in 2025. A real $500 PC that balances performance, value, and availability. Now, this video isn't full of once-in-a-lifetime sales or free parts inherited from grandma. It's a build you could put together right now without getting ripped off. Let's go through it piece by piece, starting with the one part everyone always overlooks, but absolutely shouldn't: the power supply. PSU prices have continued to rise over the past few years, but there are still some good ones out there for reasonable prices. I would never say you should spend $100 on a power supply for a $500 PC. That's a bit out of touch with most people, but it isn't too far-fetched to say that the power supply should be around $50 US, and at least be not an F tier on the tier list. I really like this A550BN from MSI. It's a very simple power supply with non-modular all-black cables, 550 watts of power, and it sits comfortably at C on the tier list. And for $50, I feel like that's a good combination of reliability, power, and aesthetics. I mean, I know it's just a power supply, but imagine if those were ketchup and mustard cables.
So you just built a brand new PC, and of course you need to install Windows and get it activated. You head to the official site, you check the price, and you see that it's actually crazy expensive. Well, here's a way better and cheaper option: VIP-URcdkey. They've got Windows 11 Pro for just $22 with my code JASON. Let me show you how it works. Go to their site, find Windows 11 Pro, and add it to your cart. Use the discount code JASON, J-A-S-O-N, at checkout, and the price drops all the way down to $22. That's over 85% off. Once you've paid, you'll get your key instantly. Pop it into Windows activation, and boom, you're good to go. Easy, fast, safe, and absolutely affordable. You already spent a bunch on your new PC, so don't waste extra money on activating it. Check out VIP-URcdkey. Links are in the description, and their New Year's sale is live right now. Go grab those deals before they're gone. And thanks to VIP-URcdkey for sponsoring this video.
The case I chose is kind of an interesting story. When buying budget cases, I don't usually just go out and buy a cheap case. I usually wait for sales to pop up on r/build-a-PC sales, and then I swipe one whenever I can. A lot of nice cases go on sale for like $30 to $50, but only for a few hours or a day. So I'll buy them and then wait until my next video to throw it in. And that includes the case we have here. This is the Neo Air 2 from Magnum Gear. It's an ATX mid-tower case that is seemingly jumping on the wood texture trend, but in a way that makes it more accessible to budget-minded gamers. Most cases with wood accents are usually pretty expensive, so when I saw that Newegg was selling this guy for $50 last year, I decided to cop it and test it out later. But upon doing research for this video, I found out that this case is basically no longer available. Every website that used to sell it is now out of stock and has been for a while. Even Google searching the name of the case without the brand will show unrelated items. So I'm sorry to say that this case won't be available to purchase if you're in my region, but it might be available elsewhere. Which is a real shame because this case actually turned out to be pretty good. You get the standard ATX mid-tower form factor with the PSU shroud, tempered glass side panel, 4 included non-RGB fans, and a lot of room for cable management. The defining characteristic is this front wooden panel that has an interesting design that makes it stand out from similar products, except that this isn't real wood. It's just plastic made to look like wood. I don't think that's a big deal since the price was right, and it still gives off big wood energy just by looking at it. I think they did a good job of mixing modern aesthetics with the new wood PC trend, and the case itself didn't skim on any quality to get there. But after looking at the design and wondering why it seems so similar, it's because this front pattern looks eerily similar to the Fractal Torrent, so they managed to rip off 2 Fractal cases at once. Pretty impressive. And as stated earlier, this case is not available at the moment, so I'll drop a couple of similar priced cases in the description if you're trying to recreate this build. Unfortunately, at this price point, we can't comfortably afford a machine that supports DDR5. It's just not happening. But DDR4 is still readily available and somehow still supported by AMD, considering they released brand new CPUs on the AM4 platform less than a year ago. And building on AM4 gives us an affordable and easy upgrade path when we want to get even more performance in the future. It's a total win-win. Considering that, we can't just pick the cheapest motherboard on the market. Preferably, we want something that will be able to handle most AM4 processors we can throw at it in the future. So I picked up this B550MK motherboard from Gigabyte on Amazon resale for $75. The B550 chipset is a perfect combination of features, price, and accessibility. This board in particular features support for all the newer AM4 Ryzen processors from the 3000 series and up. 4 DDR4 DIMM slots supporting up to 128 gigs of dual-channel memory. 2 M.2 slots, one of them being PCIe 4 for superfast NVMe storage, as well as some surprisingly pretty good I/O on the back. There are way better AM4 motherboards out there, but you're mostly going to be finding them in the used market, as Newegg and Amazon are kind of sparse on AM4 these days. For the price, it's an okay board, but it's not perfect. Like most budget motherboards, it lacks an ARGB header, which is fine for us since this machine doesn't have any RGB, but if you were using this in a different case, you'd have to buy an adapter to get your fancy lights going. It also only features a 4+2 phase digital VRM solution and some questionable VRM cooling, which is fine for most people. Just don't throw a 5800 X3D in here and expect to overclock it. This is also in a micro ATX form factor, but it's going into our ATX sized case, which won't affect performance obviously, but it just means we will have a little extra space at the bottom when the motherboard is installed. And worst of all, it only has a single 4-pin fan header outside of the CPU fan, and the case doesn't come with a hub, so you'll need to buy a little fan splitter for $5 to power all the fans. For storage, we're going to want an NVMe SSD, and as always, you can buy as much or as little storage as you want, but games are pretty big these days, so if you can afford it, I recommend grabbing at least a terabyte. For this build, I'm going to be using the Kingston NV2, not because it's a great drive or anything, just because I had it left over from a previous project. This SSD costs around $60 these days, but for that price, I would recommend you actually buy something like the Silicon Power UD90, the Crucial P3 Plus, or the Team Group MP44. All great budget drives with good speeds and reliability. If you're low on funds, you can go with a lower capacity variant without any problems, but I think it's worth the extra cash if you've got it. For the memory, I wasn't aiming for RGB rave sticks or overkill specs, just something reliable that doesn't scream, salvaged from mommy's old office PC. So I just went with 2 sticks of DDR4, totaling to 16 gigabytes, clocked at a respectable 3200 megatransfers per second. That's fast enough to keep things snappy without bottlenecking the CPU, and dual channel ensures we're not hobbling performance like some sad single stick setup. The kit only costs $28, which isn't the cheapest RAM out there, and it won't win any beauty contests, but at least it won't embarrass itself on camera. For the processor, I was originally interested in using the Ryzen 5 3600, but I wanted this build to be more easily accessible on retail sites like Newegg and Amazon. So I went with the Ryzen 5 5500, a 6-core 12-thread chip that hits the sweet spot between budget and performance. Sure, it's not the flashiest Ryzen out there, but it's based on Zen 3 architecture, so it still punches way above its price point in gaming and general productivity. It's got decent single-core speeds, strong multi-threading, and enough L3 cache to keep things smooth without breaking the bank. Honestly, for around $74 brand new on Amazon on sale, with a cooler included, it's kind of a no-brainer. It's like the economy sedan of CPUs. It's not flashy, but it's dependable, efficient, and it doesn't ask for premium gas. The biggest downside is that it doesn't support PCIe 4, so our SSD will run a little slower than advertised, but if you want PCIe 4, you can buy the Ryzen 5600 for a little more money, and you'll get an even better processor as well. For the graphics card, I grabbed a used RTX 2070 for only $170. And while it's not the latest and greatest, it's still a gaming powerhouse on a budget. Yes, the 8 gigs of VRAM might hold us back a bit in the most demanding of modern titles, especially with high resolution textures, but for the majority of games, it handles 1080p and even 1440p gaming with ease. We get access to all of the great features like NVENC, RTX Voice, entry-level ray tracing, and DLSS, NVIDIA's AI upscaling. I recently did a video going over the RTX 2070's performance and feature set, so if you want to learn more about the card, I recommend you go check out that video. But I wanted to make one correction. In that video, I said that the 2070 does not support DLSS past 2.0, which I originally thought it did, but then after checking 3 different sources, they all said it didn't, so I just went with it. Which is a good reminder, kids. The internet is a liar sometimes. A few people also complained that I didn't test enough games that were made recently, so most of the benchmarks in this video will be mostly games released in the last year. So if it runs a game like Monster Hunter well, you can assume it's going to run Roblox pretty good too. But other than that, in terms of practical use cases, this card is a great all-rounder. It's solid for high frame rate gaming, content creation, and even 3D workloads. Plus, at only $170 used, you're getting a great deal that brings top tier features without a top tier price tag. And let's be honest, that's pretty rare these days. So let's check out some glamour shots of this build, and then on to the benchmarks. The benchmarks look great, and I think we proved that this could be a stealthy, minimalist, budget gaming PC. Here's the total cost breakdown for this PC with the components I went over earlier. But in terms of upgrades, well, you can always upgrade to 32 gigs of RAM with a higher clock speed. It probably wouldn't help in gaming too much, but it will go a long way in just the general use of the machine. A larger capacity SSD is always available as well, so you don't have to worry about uninstalling games all the time to make room for the newest AAA giants. The CPU is a prime component to be upgraded as well. At the low end, the 5600 would be a good candidate, but if you want a little bit more, you can grab something like the 5700 X3D, which is a really fantastic gaming processor. If you want a better graphics card, which is going to help your gaming performance the most out of all these upgrades, you can grab a used RX 6700 XT. Or if you're lucky enough to get an Intel B580 at MSRP, that would be amazing. But if you'd prefer to build a PC that doesn't use any used parts and has everything readily available on Amazon, you can check out this video here. Thanks to the channel members, Gaming Nomad, Mr. C&D, and Matty HP for supporting the channel, and if you'd like to support independent creators like myself, please consider hitting the join button below so you can join this list as well. My name is Jason. Thanks for watching.